Yeah, that one was so freaking awesome. All right, so we are back here. I am Matt from Matt and Steve SC. Moletrap, of course, here as well. We have Frank, PHRANK, as well, and Deja Vu. What I figured we'd do before we dive into actually, getting into the game and stuff like that, because obviously we're going to be doing that. The match starts in about 17 minutes. Just quickly, not everybody knows who we all are. I know that other than Moletrap, the rest of us are fairly new to this scene. And people are like, where's Cholera? Where's Glazard? So I just figured, maybe the noobs can just kind of explain what kind of got you where you are. And so why don't we start Deja Vu? Tell us a little about yourself, man.
We'll have him start since his call might drop again. We
Right.
might lose him.
Right.
Yeah, let's get it going while my call doesn't drop. Yeah, a little bit about myself. I started commentating in March, April of last year, so I'm nearing my commentary anniversary. Trying to figure out something fun to do for that. And I just graduated from college. I live in the States, live in Pennsylvania. If
Your
anyone's
mom
curious
graduated
about
from
that.
college.
That's inappropriate, Moletrap. That's
Sorry,
just
I'm
inappropriate.
sorry.
I did just graduate.
Awesome. So how long have you actually officially been commentating for?
Officially been what?
Oh, you okay, you said, I'm sorry.
He said almost a year.
Oh, almost a year now. Okay, got it, I'm sorry.
Almost getting there, yeah.
Got it. Oh, that's right, because you said the commentary versary, or common...
My commentary anniversary.
Yeah, there you go, okay. Awesome, man. Well, good to have you on board as long as the phone service holds up here. Again, for those that don't know, Deja Vu is basically going to be holding his phone to his ear for the next 2 hours so that he can hear us and commentate. So that's a pimpest play right there for you. All right, Frank, how about yourself, man? Where are you from and what got you started up?
I didn't hear my name there, but I'm going to assume that was directed at me. Anyways, yeah, I'm Frank. I'm coming from Canada, and that's pretty much the gist of it. No, I'm just joking. I've been commentating for a while now, probably about a year off and on, and I've actually been kind of sucking at it from time to time, but, like all commentators do, we all have our ups and downs. We all kind of slump. We all get into our little times where we just don't do much of anything, but I've been commentating for roughly a year now, and I do want to point out, Deja Vu didn't say this, but I do want to point out that Deja Vu is like my commentary child. He did his first Pro League game with me. He used to commentate all local games, and he did his first game with me, so I'm so proud to have him aboard this OSL Final Cast. It's bringing a tear to my eye, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to contain myself. I'm going to be giddy every
that
time.
was like an hour-long game, Go Rush versus Stork. I don't even know how I was still talking by the end, because I know, even now, 30-minute games, I start to, run out of things to say. I don't even know what we talked about for an hour.
I have no idea. Probably about how great Canada is.
Isn't that the topic of every conversation in Canada? I mean, come on.
Yeah, generally. Actually, I had a conversation just 5 minutes ago. But actually, I do want to point out that I'm not going to introduce myself much more than that. I'm going to point out, though, that I am actually in a room full of Team Liquid super nerds right now, and they're all SC gaming it right now, and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm surrounded by SC everywhere, and I am going to try to plug our stream onto them so they'll watch our stream on the big screen when they go upstairs here. I'm going to be stuck in this lab, though, for the whole cast.
Those big nerd
That's just about it.
All right. Well, awesome. Yeah, absolutely, man. The big nerd parties are where it's at when it comes to StarCraft. Well, again, my name is Matt. I basically came onto the scene. My brother, Steve, Matt and Steve SC, so we both made a channel together. He was in Afghanistan in the Army and was there quite some time and had nothing to do, so he basically took to watching Pro StarCraft, which I think a friend of his got into. He told me about it. I've been playing StarCraft since it came out. That was my first love in gaming, was the RTSs. Any fans of Command & Conquer Red Alert out there? That was the first game I owned on a CD. Anyways, and then I joined up with the commentator idol that SE2GG had, and made it to the final 5, and then got owned by Chill. And that's okay though. It was a good kind of own. And yeah, I've been commentating for a little more than a year now, I think I'm coming up upon my year-versary or whatever you want to call it, Deja Vu as well. So, Yeah, so, we're all kind of fresh blood here, and certainly, we all, I'm sure, would be open to constructive criticism, but we don't have much time here. We are just a few minutes away, and we're watching the commentators. For those that didn't know who these guys are, they're apparently eating food, just hanging out, and I don't know what they're eating, but that looks like something that I might enjoy.
Looks like Korean food.
Yeah.
Larva.
I think so, then you smell it.
Yeah, really, Korean food. Fantastic. All right, and somebody says there's an echo on the stream. Are you guys noticing, anybody in the chat noticing an echo on the stream? I haven't seen anybody else.
Hey, is it better now? I just turned off my microphone.
Oh, okay, maybe that was why. Maybe that was some of that as well. Okay. All right, so let's talk a little bit while the stream is going on there. Let's talk a little bit about this game, all right? So we have, of course, Flash versus movie. I'm sure pretty much everybody is, has their eyes on Flash to basically take this all the way. Moletraps, what are your kind of thoughts coming straight off?
Well, yeah, I'm torn. I'm having trouble deciding if movie's going to take a game or not, because it's pretty much, in my eyes, an open and shut case. It's almost a foregone conclusion that Flash is going to win this series. He is going to win this OSL. But what I'm trying to decide between basically is, if movie's going to be able to pull something out or not. I know he's capable of pulling out some crazy stuff, and he's beaten some decent players. But what the heck is going on? How does 20% of people vote for a movie?
Yeah.
I did not think that people were that stupid that 20% of them would actually think movie has a chance of... Not even a chance, but they believe that he's going to take the OSL. Maybe it's a bunch of CJ fanboys or something.
We're
like
talking
that.
about a poll on SE2GG.com under the... They have a fantastic OSL preview page written by Bakho. And yes, that is the vote there. If you guys want to go vote for who you think is going to win, I'm going to post the link in the chat right now. It'll be there for about 2 seconds before all the requests for singing and everything move the link. I'll post it a couple times. Yeah, here's the link, guys. Link spam. All right, go ahead and check out that poll and everything. Well, yeah, I mean, Flash. I think I heard somebody mentioning the other day that Flash was like 47-13 or something like that in his last 60 games.
He's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And the only reason why I give movie a chance of even taking a game is because TVP is Flash's slight weakness. He can theoretically get overrun sometimes. I mean, movie could get lucky and get a lucky scarab off on his SCVs or something like that, right. and theoretically get an advantage from something like that. It's a little bit more touch and go in TVP sometimes, so it's easier to get lucky and have something go your way and be able to win a game off of that. It's easy to have one, Flash, he plays pretty much perfectly, but it's still possible his army wouldn't be in the best position, he could get overrun or a bad recall, so movie could take a game or something like that. But what I was thinking about is, we were thinking before about how Flash had to practice for 2 matchups, because he had to practice for Quanro,
right,
and he had to practice for movie also, so TVZ and TVP, and that was going to maybe, and at first I was like, oh, well, movie might take a game because Flash has been preparing for Quanro, but then I realized, no, he didn't prepare Jack for Quanro.
Right.
I was thinking about it,
right.
He did cheese,
yeah.
and then and just defeated Quanro's cheese, and he didn't have to prepare at all for that matchup. Basically, he's probably more worried about movie because of the fact that TVP is his lesser matchup. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Is he's probably been preparing a lot more for this, especially since it's the finals. It's a lot more important in the first place.
Right.
So Flash is going to be really, really prepared for that, and so that's why I'm thinking he's probably not going to let movie get away with anything. But we'll see. He could get lucky and take a game, but TVP is a macro game, and Flash is macro. So I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
What about you guys, Frank or Deja Vu? What are your guys' thoughts?
Okay, well, everyone...
go.
Sorry. Okay. Everyone out there is obviously predicting a 3-0 Flash Smash Fest. I, in my staff predictions, predicted at least 1 win for movie. There's a lot of quirks to the maps these days. Match Point with all its crazy ridges and, El Nino, I think... I actually said that specifically movie is probably going to take a match on El Nino, just because it's to me it has such a weird feel to it. And as well, Movie's just such an aggressive player that I think he's going to be able to not necessarily take advantage of Flash, because there's really nothing in Flash's game for there to be taken advantage of. But like I said, I mean, Movie's just such an aggressive player, and the way the maps work, I think Movie's also got that kind of creative aggression to him, and he's extremely good with arbiters. I mean, I don't know. He's going to come up with something. Something's got to go for him. And I saw an interview with him, actually, where he was saying that he was preparing just tons. All of his time is just going into preparing for this OSL final, preparing for Flash. And I mean, who wouldn't? If I had to battle Flash on Icy Cup just for funsies, I would prepare for freaking half a year for it. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Movie, he's an up-and-coming guy, and nobody's giving him any credit, but, like, he's sweet. I mean, he's in the OSL finals. We got to give him at least that much.
Well, I think one thing real quick, Deja Vu, I have, of course, this is El Nino up on the screen right here. Hopefully it looks okay for you guys. One thing that I think Movie tends to play better on is the more kind of aggressive two-base builds and two-base games. And a map like El Nino, because it is smaller, because you can kind of get between the bases faster, it kind of fares better for that kind of play more than just kind of sitting back and going three base Protoss against a three base Terran. Because to me, if you try to do something like that against Flash, again, you're just going to get steamrolled. So anyways, this is El Nino. This is going to be the third map played, or second map played. So definitely, it's not a game 4, game 5. If you're right, then this could be Movie could tie up the match if he were to lose the first one, which is on Heartbreak Ridge, and then go on to El Nino and actually win one. So, what are your thoughts, Deja Vu?
Well, I mean, the number of reasons to pick Flash are so many. Like, you can just start wherever you want. Like, you look at him; he's a really creative player. Originally he was known for his cheese. I'm sure he's practiced against cheese. And you've seen so many people try to cheese him and fail miserably.
Yeah.
Even in the you saw Best go for like a totally planned out strategy on match point, gas steal, totally transition correctly, and Flash still steamrolled him. And
right.
You saw Best get absolutely devastated by that. So Flash looked amazing dealing with that. And then you've got Movie, who, against Shine, I gotta say, he won, but it wasn't that impressive. He had, a lot of little errors, over-committing forces here, just trailing High Templar here and there that Shine didn't pick off. Whereas, if Movie, randomly has High Templar wandering around, Flash is gonna pick them off. He's not gonna let them survive. And I think it's just those little errors for Movie are just gonna build up really, really fast.
Yeah, absolutely. For the record, Flash has only played Movie one time, and he did beat him. It was in the Pro League several months ago. Not that really means a great deal, but I mean, you look at a player like Flash. So I'm looking at Flash's stats here. So Flash has played 347 games.
Jesus.
347 games and has a 70% winning percentage.
Holy crap!
All right, now. That is insane. I mean, this is like when we were talking about Jadong maybe a year ago with kind of the same thing. Like Jadong hit 75% or something like that. Maybe
in
he was
ZVZ.
just a 70. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. It was in ZVZ. He was 75.
He was 79 in ZVZ.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay,
at
so
one point.
yeah, he was ridiculous. But I mean, so we're talking about an overall percentage. Even if he is a little bit less against Protoss, and he's I think 66% against Protoss. That is just such an amazing percentage. The problem with Movie is that Movie has played a total of 90 games. He's 50% with 90 games, so he has played not even a third of the games that Flash has, and obviously he's going to have lower stats. I don't know. I mean, to chime in on my own. When I did, and I was going to go through maybe a couple of the predictions from some of the people at SC2GG just to get some ideas from the other commentators who aren't here right now. But my prediction was mainly more of a hopeful one. I want to go to Game 5, right? I don't care if Movie cheeses.
Good luck.
I don't care if Movie builds a proxy, freaking goes for a cannon rush, whatever, dude. I want to see movie find a way to get under Flash's skin, to get a little slight O-face from Flash, maybe get that twitch back in there, something. The problem with Flash is he is just too freaking solid. So, let me go ahead and just to read, I was going to read a couple kind of predictions for the OSL from some of the other commentators here. Nuke the Stars mentioned the series will probably play out a lot like Fantasy versus Jadong, vicious mechanics versus wacky strategy. I expect the score to be the same, 3-2 in favor of Flash. I have strange feelings about the series. Main reason I still have to give it to Flash is because of experience and nerves. Movie does make mistakes under pressure, and this will be the most he's ever been pressured. So Nuke the Stars actually going to give 2 games to Movie. Diggity has to say, unless Movie devises some brilliant new build that no one has ever seen, a la Bisu, Flash is going to face stomp him so hard, it's not going to be funny.
I love Diggity.
Yeah, he said the only reason this isn't going to be the fastest OSL ever is because it takes time for a Terran to kill off a Protoss, even in overwhelming situations. Which, yes, is true, unless we see some sort of bunker rushing or some sort of play like Flash did do against Quanro. That, it definitely takes a little bit more time there. I'm not going to read the ones that we did.
Read mine.
I don't care about Moletrap. I don't care what Moletrap has to say.
What?
Yeah, whatever.
Me neither.
Oh, hey, Matt, you were talking earlier about different cheeses and proxies that Movie could do. I will say that one thing I do like about Movie is he's got pretty good shuttle micro. So if he was to do maybe like proxy reavers and hide that, I think that might actually be a way to get a win.
Well, and Movie pulled off.
I can see that happening.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I've seen. We saw Movie go for Maelstrom against Shine, and was able to pull it off and obliterate all of his Mutalisks in one Maelstrom. Now, obviously, we're not talking Mutalisks here, unless Flash knows something that I don't. But that's definitely something. Seeing him go for something like that and successfully execute it in the middle of late game battles, that definitely says something that he can go, and he does have some micro ability. When it counts, and we are starting in here, so I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit here, and we are about to get started officially. Let me go ahead. No, I don't want this to be too loud over us, so if this ends up being too loud, let us know, guys. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the less I think Movie has a chance.
Yeah. Well,
just because...
Like, you seriously sit there and try and think of a way for Movie to win, and you struggle. You struggle to theory craft a way for him to win.
No, I do like your idea of the proxy reavers, because Flash usually scouts around and stuff for cheese a lot of the time, especially if he's been cheesed before, but not that much that he's going to catch proxy reavers, especially on, one of these wacky maps.
Right.
So I think that's probably, I was saying that before too, I think that's probably what Movie's going to do is he's going to plan out some map-specific cheese.
Right.
So, maps with a really weird position or something like that. Heartbreak Ridge...
Why don't let's talk about the maps a little bit, because there is a commercial break, so we can talk a little bit about the maps and like what are some possibilities for these maps.
Yeah.
So this is Heartbreak Ridge you guys are looking at right now, and this is New Heartbreak Ridge, or Neo Heartbreak Ridge, whatever they called it. It's called that.
Hey, Matt, Neo means new.
Right. I'm just... Sometimes they say new, and sometimes they call it Neo. I don't know why. I'm talking official map names here, okay?
I'm just kidding.
God.
Jeez.
God. Wait, what are we watching? Is this a commercial?
Yeah,
okay,
it's commercial.
All right. So what are you guys thinking for Heartbreak Ridge here? A map that's been complained about as being difficult for Protoss to expand and other things like that, tending to be more of a Zerg-favored map against Protoss, but we're not talking Zerg here, so what do you guys think?
Oh, I'm saying Flash all the way on this one, absolutely. And especially, I think he's going to use that new kind of super aggro. It's almost like a 2-fact push off of 2 bases, but it's kind of modified so that it's like a 5-6 fact push. I don't know if you guys have been catching this, but like it's completely caught me off guard, where he just busts out all these random forces, and instead of trying to set up another expansion or bunkering down and trying to fend off the Protoss, he just goes and pushes with every single unit he has, and he just out-micros his opponent. And on a map like that, where there's that small choke leading out of your natural expansion there, not to mention you can run up to that high ground and get that third base down so quickly. I mean, Flash is just going to completely walk over, and it's a standard map too, and it's easy to expand as Terran. So there's absolutely going to be no way that Movie's going to win this one, unless maybe if he because the starting area in your main base is pretty big, maybe he'll set up some gateways in there. I cannot see any other way for Movie to come out with a win on that map, though.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say it's not actually that easy to expand on this map. I don't think. I don't know. It just seems like it's Terrans to get their third base at least. I mean, obviously it's really easy to get your second, but to get that third, you have to spread out your line a lot. And so I've seen some Protoss take advantage of that because you can go around the top of the map, for instance, and attack around the top if they're spread out around the bottom or something like that. If they're respawning on the left. So anyway, it's possible, I guess, that. I mean, I'm still giving it to Flash, but I'm just saying, it's not quite that biased towards Flash. And we don't know if he's going to go for any kind of early factory push or anything.
Right.
I don't know. But what you mentioned, though, there at the end is that it's a standard map, and that's exactly right. It's very standard, so it's going to be really tough for Movie to pull anything off on it that Flash won't see coming, because he's already, it's the strategies and the way that the map works are really, really well known. So I think that is going to be a definite advantage for Flash, if anything.
All right, and we are, just so you know, again, that lag is not you guys, it's not us. That's just the stream being weird when it's not actually showing a game. So I'm going to move on. We talked a little bit about El Nino before, and I mean, just to again touch on that again, I would agree with Frank that I think El Nino is probably Movie's best chance, at least to get a first win on, for kind of what we already talked about. Okay, here is the live right now. There are the Korean commentators, and again, this stream will hopefully get back up here. Of course, at this point, this is when everybody is logging in. Right now, everybody is trying to come in here and watch the stream, so don't worry about it too much.
They haven't quite started yet.
Yeah, they haven't quite started yet. So before we do that, let's talk about Eye of the Storm here. Very cool looking map. So Eye of the Storm, of course, a very big map, known for the wall with the very small choke into the main base. And then, of course, you have the downward ramp coming out here from your natural expansion there. You have the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock expansions that are kind of difficult to hold because there's multiple, well, unless you're Terran, there's multiple ways to get up the ramps.
They're still pretty far from your main fire line. So.
Yeah, either way, you have to resupply. Deja Vu, you didn't really get a chance to comment on the last ones. Do you have any thoughts? Oh yeah, he just said that. Sorry, man.
Heartbreak Ridge is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
If Movie's gonna cheese, he's got a lot of options. He's the center map. The map is easier to access now, so you can put proxy gates in there.
Right.
Also, if he wants to do proxy reverse, let's say he starts on the right, he can go to the top left or the bottom left.
Right. So you're talking. Let me see. Let me get Heartbreak Ridge back up there so we can get that going.
Because it's a really long distance for Flash to scout the entire map for proxies.
Right. So you're saying go for a proxy here in the middle because that's not generally a place that gets scouted. And,
exactly.
Yeah. So
or you can go to one of the corners.
Right, absolutely. No, you're right. That's right. And I didn't think about. I mean, you don't see proxy gateways as much as you see proxy barracks for the most part. But I hadn't even thought about that. Well, that's definitely something that could be happening.
Actually, something that's interesting is that the old Heartbreak Ridge, when you sent your SCV to the other spawn point, it would go around the bottom or the top of that thing in the middle.
Right.
The new Heartbreak Ridge, the SCV or the probe goes through the middle to scout. So that means that proxy gates in the middle are actually not going to be as viable with Neo Heartbreak Ridge.
Wow, I would not have known that. That's why we have Mole Trap here, ladies and gentlemen.
Boom!
Bam! Knocking it out.
Zing!
I had no idea. All right. Let me pull this out here. Let me check and see.
But there's obviously still other places to put proxies on the map. It's still a very proxyable map in general, so I didn't mean to poo-poo the whole strategy.
And you guys can tell the stream is lagging because the fact that it's choppy, but then when I move this in, it actually looks pretty good. All right, any thoughts on Eye of the Storm? I've seen some pretty good matches on Eye of the Storm. It's a very kind of outside around proximity map. Because there's really not much going on in the middle, not a lot of incentive other than these little side pockets here, which those are not island. That's right. I'm trying to remember here. All right, wait, we got some stuff going on in the back. I keep wanting to move this away.
I haven't started yet.
No, we just have some talking and some choppiness. All right. Any thoughts off here? I mean, I'll be honest. For me, looking at this, I just see Flash. I just see Terran. As far as this map goes, not just because it's Flash, but I don't know. I've just seen Terran do very bad things on this map. I mean, I've seen Terrans. If a player takes the 6 o'clock, for instance, come in, kind of camp outside here, shell over the top, float over a barracks for sighting, be able to kind of stop any sort of expansion there. There's nice wide ramps to be able to move up or lay some mines at the bottom of here, get some vulture harassment going on as well. Even though I know Flash isn't as big on vulture harassment as, say, like Fantasy. But what are your guys' thoughts as far as this map? Anything you guys see that could be tipped off?
Well, actually, I think this is the map that I was talking before about Flash's new aggressive, 4, 5, 6 factory build, and I think this is actually the map that I've seen it used most effectively on. And I think even Firebat Hero used this build, and he just completely massacred his Protoss opponent. And you can contain at the bottom of that ramp, and there's absolutely no way to reinforce unless you want to go through that disgusting choke of death.
Right.
But I mean, it's going to be insane. It's going to be really difficult for the movie, especially if it gets contained early. So I think I can expect Flash to go for something aggressive here in the beginning, but Terran, like you've been saying, I think Terran's definitely got the gusto on this one.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Just an FYI, the Protoss has a slight disadvantage from the stats. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong map stats there. That was actually referring to New Heartbreak Ridge. There was a slight disadvantage for Protoss.
This is a good recall.
That's perfect. I was just about to say Protoss.
Oh, you stole it.
Yeah, you stole it. Protoss actually has an advantage on this map, believe it or not, and it is because of the recalls. Yes, this is a great map to just do a quick recall over the wall, pull back. So we might see something like that. Movie has had some pretty good recalls, so that's something that Movie I've seen do very well, especially in the games where it's gotten to that point here in the semifinals and the round of 8 and such. All right, I'm going to see if we can get the stream working here as we trail off. Nope, are we still showing? They're still showing old stuff. I'm going to refresh the stream.
Yeah, refresh it. I got stuck.
Yeah.